You know what we talk about a lot, Mark?
Movies.
Yes. And you know who's in movies?
Actors.
And we have one here.
Wow. Krista Allen.
Hi, Krista.
Hi.
I hear you've got a podcast yourself.
I do.
What's the name of it?
I'm fine with Krista Allen.
We're fine with Krista Allen too, but what's the name of your podcast?
I'm fine with Krista Allen.
And what do you do on I'm Fine with Krista Allen?
Well, I bring in my friends and celebrity guests, and we review one self-help book or article or something in the self-helpery world once a week. And we apply the topics of the book into our own lives.
Great. How do we listen to it?
iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or I'm fine with KristaAllen.com.
Is that, what is that from?
That, Mark, is from The Departed. I forget what he says.
That's Mark Wahlberg?
Well, it's Alec Baldwin. He's talking to somebody. I think he's talking to Marky Mark. And he says, how about you tell me this? How about go fuck yourself? I
You're
don't
just
know
making
why.
it up now.
That's why I'm not an A-list actor.
Is Alex still A-list?
He was at one point.
Yeah. I think he's in A-minus list.
Yeah?
He's still like in the, public consciousness thanks to SNL. Oh shit, I got beer in the fridge. Should I get a beer?
I'm such an asshole I didn't bring you one. Why don't you go away and I'll talk to the audience here.
Yeah, sing him a song. Tell him what you really think of me. I'll be right back.
So, Mark is about to get axe murdered. And I think he's got a cat that's going to do it. Basically, the cats, when they come out at night, they all sneak into his closet and they grab all these weapons. I've seen it. It's actually insane. And anyway, occasionally they go out and they stalk the neighbors but yeah, don't get on their bad side because watch out. They are nuts. And I really don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just going to roll with it and drink my beer. Hey guys, I don't know where Mark is. He just stepped out of the room. And I don't know if he's coming back. Oh, hey Mark. How's it going, buddy?
What were you saying?
I guess you'll just have to listen to one of our episodes for once to find out.
I have listened at least to 2 of our episodes.
That was the most pathetic cheersing we've ever
Well,
done.
it's not glass on glass. You got a can.
It's kind of like a thud. Anyway.
Doink.
So I see you've left the window open to expand our universe for the listener.
I mean, you can close it if you're worried about traffic noise, but it was a little warm in here today.
It's all right.
All right, fine.
So, how you been?
Busy.
Yeah?
Busy. I mean, we haven't recorded in a couple weeks because we've both been so busy. Today I was like...
Too busy.
Even today on my weekend, I'm like changing the oil in my car. I got to go out grocery shop and I got to go to the library.
Oh my God. Complain.
Life,
hey, at least
life
you
gets in the way.
At least you do your errands when you're working. Because when I'm working,
You just,
literally fucking nothing gets done. Poor Orla's had to do everything in the house. Not that I do anything to the house because I'm never there. But it's just like... this is actually a great segue into what I was going to talk about this week.
You're a deadbeat fiance.
Well, thanks a lot, Mark.
What's your segue?
It wasn't really... I wanted to talk about work-life balance.
Oh,
because
we have before, I think, but let's do it again.
I don't feel like we really have gotten into
probably been a while.
what I'm thinking in particular. I'm thinking about like work not only in the sense of like our day jobs, but our creative work as well.
I'm not creative anymore.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I forgot how to be creative.
And I think most people do not have hobbies, do not have things that keep them busy in the extracurricular. So they do things like go to the beach and enjoy bike rides and things like that, which I have always kind of struggled with because I've always felt like I need to be doing something.
If people go to the beach, that's like the thing they do.
Yeah?
If people ride their friggin' bike everywhere, that's their hobby. I go to the gym every day. That's my hobby.
Maybe that's my problem then.
Some people have too many hobbies.
Yeah.
So I'm still got like geocaching junk in this room.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my hobbies years ago, and I keep meaning to get back to it and like find all the new geocaches in my neighborhood, but then I kind of go like, it's for like 10-year-old kids. Maybe I shouldn't do this anymore.
Do you want to explain geocaching to our listeners if they don't already know?
Not really.
Okay.
But I will. It's basically a sort of a treasure hunt out in the real world. Like people will hide usually an extremely small container. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a foam canister. Maybe it's an Altoids tin. Maybe it's literally the size of the tip of your finger. It's like some of these things can be very hard to find, but it's just sort of the thrill of following the clues. Mm-hmm. And stumbling upon this thing that most people walk right past, but it's really there in plain sight sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's just like a magnetic container stuck to the bottom of a table at Panera.
Sounds fun. I mean,
it's just like
it's kind of cool.
It's like, not really a game because there's no points or anything, but you just go out and you kind of explore your surroundings. I've seen a lot of cool stuff.
Pokemon hunting.
I don't know.
Because just from you saying, it gets you out of the house to go explore your surroundings. That's a lot. A lot of people did that with Pokemon Go.
I thought the Pokemon game, where the monster animals, what the fuck are they? The Pokemon.
No, sure.
Wherever the Pokemon are found, I thought it was just random. Like you just have to be going somewhere.
It's very sexist of you. Where's the Pokewomen?
That Poke people.
Wrong.
I thought that was all random, but geocaching, it's like a determined set location. They give you GPS coordinates, more or less, and it's usually within 100 feet radius of that spot. I don't know how the Pokemon thing works, really.
I guess this is way off topic from what we were talking about anyway, but yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so I guess what I've been thinking about is back when we used to live together in 2007 with our wonderful friend Nick Mathis, who's no longer with us because he's on the East Coast. Not because he's dead.
He's literally not with us
literally
anymore.
Not with us. But I think of those times, and we were, we were all single, so maybe that helps. But
yeah, we had a lot more spare time.
Yeah, I just think about how prolific we were in the.
I can think of 2 whole short films I made.
Hey, that's 2 more than you've made lately.
Since then, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's just what I mean. It's like I've got these projects I still want to do, and they're just kind of on the back burner while I now have a job.
I've got screenplay files on my desktop you can see right here.
And we have serious relationships, and are these recent? I see something dated the set 2017.
Where's that? Where do you see 2017?
Hunters?
Oh, that's somebody else's script. I keep on meaning to read it, but I'm not. Because I've read a draft before, and I just don't want to do it again.
So whoever wrote Hunters is listening to this going...
Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, I mean, back when we were single and it was 3 people trying to be creative, all kind of stuck together in the same big room, things happened.
I guess Nick helped a lot. I guess I wish there was a way that would translate into being able to balance that with everything else that's going on currently in our lives. And I guess there is.
You have the MP2K forums.
I've still got forums,
which, if anybody is listening to this and doesn't know, go to mp2k.com. There's a forum where we can talk in the forum about this podcast. Nobody else does, but maybe you want to.
Only Lance does.
Yeah.
And maybe he posts.
Yeah. But that sort of the creative headspace doesn't work for me in a forum. Like you don't know if the other people are even there reading your thoughts. Mm-hmm. And even if they are, there's nothing really motivating anybody to write back. You've got to want to be involved. Whereas when we all live together, if Nick had some crazy idea, I wasn't just going to walk away and plug my ears.
If Nick said, "Here, hold this pizza box and stand in the pool."
Now give me thumbs up.
Okay. Thumbs up. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little frustrating. I actually haven't thought about this at all recently. I just thought it was a good topic to focus on because it's like
you still think so?
At the time, none of us had jobs really. We were just a bunch of bums.
I was working at Fox full time.
At the time, were you?
I was a motherfucker paying the rent.
Yeah, that's true.
All of the rent.
Hey, I paid my own rent.
Eventually.
No, back then I was paying rent. Maybe not the last month or two, but
okay. I guess if we want to split that era into different sections.
Maybe this was a bad topic to talk about. The good old days of not having money. Yeah,
but that's when you decided to go off and make your first feature.
Yeah,
or second feature,
and it absolutely wrecked me. Mm-hmm. Someday because when I can
still see it in your eyes.
When I was on Jake Lloyd's podcast, we didn't even get to that point.
I listened.
We
were
to that about
episode.
to talk, and I wanted to talk to him about it too because he just made his feature. And
Pinch,
at some
right?
point, I know he's been bugging us to get on the podcast. We should get him on.
We should, but his movie's called Pinch, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pinch, directed by Jake Lloyd, coming soon to VOD.
Maybe that'll be our movie next week, and we'll.
Yeah, I missed it in the theater. I really wanted to see it. I just could not get there.
But
excuse me.
Yeah, I think just going through the process, and it's such a difficult thing, and that movie took 5 years to do, and I think we've talked about it on the podcast. It was like such a beast that I hate it, and there's things I absolutely hate about it, and things I am proud of and happy I've done.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately it was a failure.
I'm not gonna put these words in your mouth, but I'm just gonna compare it to how I feel about my hobby, going to the gym. I don't really like doing it, but I like having done it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you think the same way about
I don't know many
movie.
people that like going to the gyms.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It hurts. It's early in the morning.
Maybe not. Maybe mine's the opposite because I like having done it while I was doing it. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, you enjoyed it while you were in the process.
Yeah, it was like.
But now that it's over, you're like
you're basically just in a war zone. But then you with every movie, you want everybody to be excited as you are about it. Mm-hmm. You want to go in, you want the actors to be pumped, and you want them to want to show up every day and kind of play around, and everybody did until the end, at which point I was so broke that I couldn't really properly finish the movie. And at some point the actors kind of just disappear. Nobody's around anymore, so it's kind of very solitary. Mm-hmm. And then the movie was done, and nobody saw it. We never had a screening for it, which actually I was thinking lately about having a screening for the movie at like the Lemley, renting out the theater just to have a premiere for the movie, like nearly a decade after it was done.
Now, I am going to pretend this is my movie.
Sure.
I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but if it was my movie, and it's been 8 years since the thing was released on DVD. Mm-hmm. People can still buy it on DVD somewhere, right?
No, actually, you can't. You can't buy it anywhere. You might be able to watch it on Vimeo, but I've taken it down so many times.
Well, if you send $10 and a self-addressed stamped padded envelope to Chad Peter in LA, California,
I put DVDs up on eBay once, just at like the normal price because I was like, well, I'll put it up here and see what happens. And eBay took it down and marked it as like a copyright infringement.
What? It's your movie.
I know. So, and at that time I was like, well, I didn't have the effort in me to be like, click the 3 buttons I needed to keep it up there. I was like, fuck it.
Well, anyway, if I made a movie 8 years ago and it never had proper release, and I don't know what the money situation is behind the movie, but I'm assuming it didn't quite make its money back.
No, it did not.
Okay. I guess I myself, and I'm not trying to tell you anything about your movie, I would be very worried that this movie would be playing to an empty theater.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But then again, I mean, I would send the invite to, I'm not going to put it up in the theater more than one screening.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's not like I'm going to buy out the theater for the week and put it up.
Even the Endless only has 2 screenings.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so I mean, no, I just meant for like family and friends. But
and friends of friends.
I'm kind of at the point where, since I do hate the movie so much, mostly because I feel like it represents where I was in 2007, but now it does not. As a filmmaker, it's very different. So I almost want to play it back to back with something that I'm doing currently. It's kind of like, look here, I learned something.
I'm better now.
I'm better now. I mean, because the script was pretty terrible for Apocalypse.
I tried to warn you. I tried to stop you.
I don't remember you stopping me. You were in it. You didn't say anything.
No, not on the day of the shoot. No.
Yeah. No, I just had too many magic beans. It's still fun to watch, though. That is actually the one thing that I am happy when people say it, or when people see it. Usually, they tell me, "Well, it wasn't boring."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun to watch, even if it didn't make a whole lot of sense.
And I maintain the final scene in the car. It really feels like you've actually been through something. It's only when you kind of look back on what happened, you go, "Wait, what?"
I don't know. And I don't want to talk too much about the movie, but I am happy that I feel like even if you don't get it on the first try, everything is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Every little question can be answered in the movie somewhere. Maybe not the reason for why things happen, but the whole movie has like a question and answer. It's just at one point there's so many questions
that you don't know what the hell is happening.
You lose the audience for a bit until maybe the end. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. It has what I was bringing up had more to do with just like keeping that ball rolling and doing other projects in the meantime. And it's actually a good segue into this week's movie, which I'm not sure. I know I have not seen this.
Why did you choose it?
And I don't know that you've seen it. Probably not, is my guess.
Okay.
It's a movie called The Void.
Wait.
Which is also happens to be the same title of a script that I was working on for
this is the one that actually
nearly
got made,
a decade.
Like in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and someone else made a movie called The Void.
I have seen this.
And see, Mark has seen this movie. But it just goes to show, if you don't do something,
someone else will.
Even if obviously
the idea
obviously
is completely
different. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was just the title.
I'm just saying the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a long-winded way of saying, do your shit,
right?
But figure out how to do it.
I still believe.
So you've seen this now. We're gonna do a little reverse, whatever. Am I gonna like this movie?
No.
Are you gonna like this movie again?
It's okay. It's okay.
Should we put in something else?
No, I think we should just go with it.
Okay. Well, I guess I really don't have anything else to say this week besides, should we watch it?
Yeah, I mean, eventually. I'm trying to think of something else I can bring to the table for this whole work-life creativity, keep the ball roll. I guess it's so hard when we're grown-ups and we have real places that we live in with significant others
Is it just because? Is it because of that, or is it because we just get so burnt out from all the effort that goes into doing it?
Well, yes, yes, and no. It's sort of we both have jobs. You were at work on a Saturday.
Yeah,
I've done overtime. I think 4 nights this past week. Like when I get home from work, it's pretty much like, oh, it's 9 o'clock, time to get ready for bed. You gotta hit the gym in the morning and go back to work. There's only so many hours in the day. So yes, it can be a matter of like life just getting in the way, like you've got other things to take care of. But let's say you prioritize that script you've been working on, and you really work on it for an extra 2 hours every night, and you stay up till 11, and you kind of get a little bit less sleep, but whatever. Doing that on top of a full-time, full-time plus job can really burn you out fast. Like, we're getting older every day. This is the oldest we've ever been. And it's just a matter of energy and a matter of the hours in a day. We cannot fit everything in. I don't think you can have your cake and eat it too.
Well, my problem also is like, and I'm sure you deal with this too. It's like you still have to give time. Even with this podcast, we still have to carve out time for this, which takes away from time with our significant others.
Yeah.
You with Ashley, me with Orla, or whoever our other friends are that we're not seeing. Mm-hmm. That we never see. It's an interesting dilemma.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I look at somebody like Elon Musk.
Right.
And he's just doing something all day, every day. And I don't get it. Or Chris Hardwick. He's on four different TV shows. He's got 2 different podcasts.
But he's also not dedicating 50 hours a week into someone else's projects.
Oh, screaming children outside. I guess you're right there. Like, celebrities and well-known actors and stuff, they kind of can choose what they want to work on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of that stuff is his day job, not one of those things, and he does the other stuff for fun.
So be like Elon and just have terrible relationships with women.
Yeah,
and just work on whatever you want. So that's
I'll
your
just
advice?
operate on credit. I'll be constantly in debt.
Great.
And just make new companies after new companies.
Yeah, just make the next company not fail as bad as the last one, and you'll be okay.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? There, like, he's got Tesla Motors.
Yeah.
There's a company out there called Nikola Motors.
Wow.
Yeah, also in the electric vehicle game.
Really? Well, I guess on that note, let's watch this movie.
Yeah, we're going to give up on all of our creative endeavors and watch someone else's hard work.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
I can see it all before me.
You won't get far.
I need hands up front for your stretcher. Where'd you find this guy?
Give you a copy of Code 3 and I need assist.
Daniel?
Who are they?
There is something calling them all here. I've seen this place before. Everything has led to this. You will become something remarkable.
They did killings and sacrifices. They made people change.
Nothing else matters now.
It isn't real. It's not real. It's not real.
This isn't the end.
Statistically, you're more likely to die in a hospital than anywhere else.
Okay, the void. They don't say the words "the void"
Well,
in the movie at all.
Did they not, or was that just you when he says the abyss?
That was me. He just said, yeah, the bad guy refers
says the
to
abyss.
the abyss several times, but not the void.
So what is the void? Because I gather it's some. Well, I really actually don't know.
I don't know. The bad guy's whole plan is like he's gonna do all this weird occult shit. He's gonna transform himself so he can bring back his dead daughter.
Yeah.
I guess he does, but the form in which she takes is completely monstrous. She looks like Mr. Hyde from the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I guess I was so lost all the way up until that point. Like I was just taking the movie in as like just
Yeah.
whatever is being spoon fed to me.
Well, this is not written well at all. Like the story really doesn't make much sense. It's just kind of like a series of scenes that build on the previous one, and it ends up in
There's
a crazy
nothing that
place.
we're connecting to.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because it's such a beautiful, like there's that. Well, I wouldn't call it a beautiful film. The cinematography is okay,
Video.
here and there, but the fucking creature work.
Oh yeah.
And some of the imagery is awesome.
Yeah, I really like these little, like, I don't know, what would you call them? Psychic flashes of another world and weird, gross monsters and gory flashes. The main character
It has
sees these
hints
things.
of Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Well, yeah, I wanted to kind of list off all the things I could think of that this was clearly inspired by. Basically, every John Carpenter movie.
Yeah, the Thing, big time.
The Thing, Prince of Darkness, big time.
Prince of Darkness.
Because that's another thing where people are trapped in a building by a bunch of cult members outside.
Lovecraft.
Definitely Lovecraft.
But the thing about those movies...
Assault on Precinct 13, Beyond the Black Rainbow, and Night of the Living Dead a little bit.
But the thing I noticed about this was that it was almost like they're not having fun. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think the effects guys are having a lot of fun. How much fucking blood is there in this movie?
And that was the most fun about the whole movie. The rest of it was... I still think you can have fun and make a serious movie, but it was too dry. It was like maybe
too melancholy, even in parts.
Too melancholy. Just like I didn't care about the characters. Like the whole backstory, I didn't care about.
The backstories seem to come in 20 minutes too late for everybody. Like you start off with this kind of like jokey sheriff. And then it turns out he's got this real serious backstory of his wife works at a hospital and they had a miscarriage and all kinds of horrible shit.
Right.
And they're divorced now. Like, you don't even hear about that until somebody forces it into conversation. It's totally expository dialogue. It's really awkward. But he's got the closest to a decent story going on, at least with what he goes through as all these monsters and hallucinations are happening. Like he gets to the end. Yeah, he's the only one. But he gets to the end and he has a vision of his wife pregnant with a child, and he's like, this is the thing I always wanted. That's when he realizes it, and then he wakes up from it, and she's been horribly mangled and turned into a weird tentacle display.
She's been turned into the Thing, basically.
Yeah. And and then when the camera pulls back away from that room and he's hacking her to pieces with no sound.
Right.
It's like that's the only real emotional moment of the movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's really not even that emotional.
It's not that emotional. It doesn't tug at my heartstrings or anything, but at least it made me feel something.
Yeah. It's I hate to badmouth any movie really because of exactly what we were talking about before, like how hard it is to make something.
It's on my job, I occasionally go to set to watch them shoot stuff, and you're very involved with things on set, I assume.
Yeah.
And as I watch everybody do their jobs, and everybody just kind of like treats it like their normal day job, and they're not excited about it, and I'm like, wow, I'm never on set. This is amazing.
I'm like the same way.
Golly. I guess I look at all that, and I'm like, it's a miracle anything ever gets made at any level of quality.
Yeah.
It's a friggin' miracle. So the fact that these guys were on Indiegogo and they raised $82,000 and they made this with $82,000, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I mean,
if only for the monsters.
It's definitely, if you were to look at this, you know, it's almost unfortunate that they did an Indiegogo because it allowed whoever ended up buying the rights to look and see, oh, they made it for that much. I mean, that might have been
so they probably,
on top.
The directors probably did not make a ton of money off of it, you're saying?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily, because they could. There's a lot of features that do actually use Kickstarter and Indiegogo for supplementary funds on top of what
that's
already
possible.
have.
I did not see what that was for. They may have had a budget in place and they just wanted to raise more.
Right.
I don't know. But for it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's clearly a low budget feature.
Right.
It's obviously a low budget. But considering it's a low budget, whatever the exact number is, it's still pretty good considering.
Well, let me ask you this: what is it that makes it an obviously low budget film?
It's some of the acting, like it's not that.
Is it the acting, or
it's
is
not
it the
that?
script?
Well, there's the script. Like, it feels like a first draft because it doesn't go anywhere really.
Right. It does feel
emotionally. Yeah. I'm saying, like, with the characters, it doesn't go anywhere. Stuff happens.
Right.
It builds as a plot, but there's no fucking story.
Right.
The look of the thing, like I was saying, it's very video-y. We aren't sure what camera was used to shoot it, but not a lot was done to make it not look like fucking digital video. It just has that cheap digital video look to it with the I don't know if it's the contrast or something, the black levels. Anytime there's fire,
usually
there's fire on
much
screen,
crisp.
I'm kind of like, yeah.
There's like too much crispness. Like when the guy was outside, the cop was outside, and you could see the emergency sign. It was like totally burnt to a crisp, basically, because it was so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, some cameras just can't handle that. I mean, that could be a colorist thing too. I mean, you can take well shot stuff and just not handle it properly.
Yeah, I don't know the technical end of all the camera stuff.
Right.
But I just know that it looks cheap.
Right.
I can tell. I don't know what people do
to
it.
Is that really, I mean, to me, like, the sound is a big one. Sound mixing.
This is okay for me.
It's okay, but it doesn't sound, it sounds like a low budget feature that had enough money to go to a sound mixing house that couldn't put a full sound design into it.
I don't know. I felt like it had everything it needed. I wasn't really missing anything there.
Well, you're wrong.
You're looking down on me right now. Sound is one of those. Like,
well, it's funny because I say the sound was the thing that really set it off. You're saying the visuals, the imagery basically is the thing that set it off.
And it's not that they weren't creative with their imagery. It wasn't that. It was just the actual technical aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of movie that if Edgar Wright directed this movie and the energy that he brings into his movies and how fun they feel.
For sure.
Not necessarily just to say this needs to be like a knee slapper comedy, because it never would be.
That's what he makes. He makes knee slappers.
It's not going to be Shaun of the Dead. But I'm saying, like, if you had a filmmaker with that kind of energy, they would find a way to make a movie that was fucking amazing. Hit all the points, and yet they could also make it serious but fun to watch.
I would say
that was what was missing.
I would say the direction of this movie is very simplistic. They basically had, handheld stuff throughout. They didn't really do a lot of special shots or sequences that would build up any particular feeling. I think the best cut parts of the movie were anytime they were fighting or running from or interacting in some way with the creatures in the movie, because they can't really show them too long, or else you'll start to see the seams on the side. Sure. So this kind of stuff, you always have to keep them in darkness.
They did a pretty damn good job.
Oh yeah, I'm not like knocking it at all. But the best parts of the movie were those, because you were kind of like leaning in to see more, but kind of leaning away because it was so gross.
Yeah, there was some
worked.
pretty horrific imagery in this.
Yeah.
Um,
But the rest of the movie was just kind of like, oh, here's a 2-shot. Here's close-ups.
we've done a lot of Carpenter, and to be honest, I'm not entirely convinced that Carpenter's style is really all that different than this director's. The only thing that stands out about Carpenter is that the scripts were a little bit better sometimes.
Sometimes.
There was
a
still
sense
lot
of fun
more. There
with
was a sense
Carpenter.
of fun, like he was aware how campy some stuff was.
Yeah.
But a movie like The Thing, you don't get that at all. That movie's just fucking terrifying from beginning to end.
But it has some funny parts still.
That's
when
true,
he
yeah.
throws the
I guess
coffee
it-
on the
yeah,
chess
yeah.
computer.
Right.
And then they see the little spider head walking away, and the one guy's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Right. I guess
Can someone untie me from this fucking couch? That's a funny part.
one thing that I feel like I learned from Apocalypse was bad writing always shows itself when you have characters that are not nice to each other.
Mm.
You know, they're not living in the real world. They're living in a world where everyone is constantly in a state of
They're opposing
disagreement.
characters, yeah.
Right.
Where they feel like
And it's easy to
characters.
write, and it's really difficult to write something that's dynamic.
Well, there's no subtext in those cases because
Right.
it's all on the surface. It's all easy to read.
Right. I couldn't tell you, honestly, what the hell most of these characters were doing.
No. I mean, I know why they
Like,
were at the
I don't
hospital,
know.
but
Yeah. I don't know why the father and the son, really. I know it
they-
seems that the mother, the wife, died or was killed.
by
maybe
those
sacrificed.
cult people, and she turned into a thing, and they had to kill her, and all these other
But
people.
why did they have these other two kids? And like, why does the movie begin
Yeah.
with them shooting some girl and lighting her on fire? And,
Right. Again, the writing sucks. The writing is just not good. They had like a good concept to work with. This whole thing about a doctor secretly doing occult experiments and doing weird warlock stuff in a hospital and opening a door to another world just because he wants to get his dead daughter back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not a terrible idea, but the characters they populated this story with just do nothing. And we literally have a character, I forget the actor, oh, it's Ellen Wong from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. She played one of the love
Yeah.
interests there. She literally does nothing. She has no purpose in the movie at all. She doesn't accomplish anything. She has no goals. Her job is to scream, I can't do this, I need to leave.
And she survives.
And she's one of the survivors, yeah.
And like the irony being that she's in the beginning of the movie, she's showing pictures of how cool these degloved hands look, and like look at how cool I am that I have this book and I'm able to look at all this gore. But then the second gore happens, she's like
out.
She's
checked
like,
out.
done. So she's literally in there just to be an ironic joke.
Yeah. I guess. I didn't find it all that funny.
No.
So I mean, there's a lot of good stuff here. There's a lot of bad stuff here. This is a very on the fence kind of movie for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we saw it. I would say that, you know, I'm glad people are making movies like this.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I mean, this doesn't remind me really at all of One Dark Night.
No.
One Dark Night, actually, I felt a connection to in a different way. It wasn't a great movie, but it was just kind of like a point A to point B story.
Yeah.
That
this movie
had a much clearer, like...
Exactly. It had a through line because it was such a short through line, A to B. This movie goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you go, wait, what the fuck does G have to do with A?
Yeah, and why is Z in here, too? Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to... This is one of those ones that maybe it's not supposed to make sense. Maybe that was kind of the point. I mean, there's definitely the Lovecraft like angle to it all, and
Definitely.
you know.
Speaking of not making sense and the Lovecraft angle, I haven't read all of Lovecraft, but I have a feeling that ending has some sort of direct connection to his work.
To
It just
something.
feels like it. Like the main character, the sheriff, he's either the sheriff or the deputy. I don't know. Somebody with the sheriff's department. And he's been having these psychic flashes of another world, dark clouds, and a kind of a pyramid shape in the sky. And at the very end, after he has pushed the bad guy into the void or the abyss, whatever, and he went with, he kind of like comes to over there on this apparently alien world
With the girl.
with weird Star Trek looking structures all around, with the girl suddenly alive because I guess the bad guy wanted to
not?
give her to him again. He has that power now over life and death. And they see this big floating pyramid in the sky, and the fucking movie ends. We don't know what that is.
I didn't
We
think you'd
couldn't
be
know
so
what that
angry
is.
after this, Mark.
I mean,
This is definitely the most vocal I think that you've ever been on the podcast about.
About anything? I've talked. I talk all the time.
I'm not saying literally vocal. I just mean
I guess something like that. You've got to give me something. What is it?
yeah.
Am I supposed to be happy they're alive? Am I supposed to be scared that they're in this weird alien hellscape?
Right.
What is it?
Right, because
Give
we
me
have
a
no
fucking clue.
we have no connection.
They don't even like they had a part earlier where somebody was flipping through the doctor's notes and there were all these weird occult diagrams and there's a lot of triangles. And I guess that references the pyramids in this alien world, but we still don't know what anything is.
Right.
And it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, and it wouldn't
And I
necessarily
think a lot of-
matter. It's if we don't have the human connection to the characters, it doesn't matter anyway. Like we can be disconnected from whatever's going on in the alien realm, but we have to have a connection to these characters. If we
Yes,
don't,
of
it's going to
course.
be disinteresting and there's nothing to grab onto.
There is that. That's step A. You have to give me a reason to care about them being there at all.
Right.
But once they're there, okay, what are they just going to go look for water somewhere?
Right.
Are there any other people there? Are there aliens there?
Right.
There's nothing.
Why is she
There's
there?
nothing.
What happened to the guy? You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't mind endings that are open-ended and weird.
There's open-ended, and then there's this.
But, you know, you can have some weird fucking movies, and there's some out there, like Cube. Cube is a weird movie, but I felt connected to those characters.
I thought that ending was fine, even though it's still like, well, what does that mean?
Right.
I don't have any... Because at least you feel like, okay, somebody got out of the cube. There's at least that.
Are we spoiling the Cube now?
The cube is from 1998, I think. 1997, maybe.
No one gets out of the Cube, as far as we know.
Okay.
Because it's open-ended. Anyway.
Maybe he just walks into another cube. We don't know.
Oh my God. People
Right.
are like, what are they talking about?
What the fuck
that?
is cube?
Anyway.
It's frustrating in that way. Yeah. I would say if you're into practical creature effects, if you like it, movies like The Thing, and you are sick of CG monsters, definitely check this out.
Yeah.
It's worth sitting through the bad stuff to get to the good stuff.
It's got the John Carpenter vibes to it.
Yeah.
Is this written by the same person who directed it?
I think so. I don't know. I didn't look that up.
Probably.
I imagine. I looked up the directors, and they've done
the directors.
There's two directors, and they've done exclusively, looks like low budget horror things. I think one of them is moving on to the next Leprechaun movie.
Oh,
That'll be his biggest movie, I'm sure. Yeah. So I don't know. It's it's an Indiegogo project.
right.
I'm sure they wrote it themselves.
I've got nothing else to say about it.
Okay. Well, la-di fucking da.
And that's going to conclude
does-
our episode of.
No, to tie this back to the beginning.
man.
No, we're not concluding yet. You take that back.
Okay. To rest in this,
To wrap this in, tie this in to the beginning, does a movie like this inspire you at all to like put your nose to the grindstone to get something made?
It's funny because yes and no. In some ways, it makes you question your own abilities.
Yeah, like if these
It's
fucking
like-
people can make a movie, why can't I?
No.
Well, that's
that.
what I think.
I'm saying.
I can't speak for you.
Yes, that happens. You go, well, I don't know. When I see a movie like this, I don't think that at all. Because if this is your level that you're saying, you can be better than, it's not a very high level. The only time I ever think
I'm
about
not
that is
ambitious,
when I
Chad.
go see something big like a Star Wars movie and it's a disappointment. You think, oh, I can do something better than this. Then at least that
They had
mark is
all this
high.
money and all this time and
Yeah.
all these people, and they still made a piece
They
of shit.
still made 5 terrible Superman movies. Yeah. No, what I'm saying is, when you see something like this, it actually terrifies me that I'm making stuff that's just as bad. You know what I mean? And you can't see it. I think that's a fear that a lot of artists have, is that the fear of being blind of what you're doing.
The people have always said, in my circles anyway, like, you can't even stop to criticize yourself sometimes. You just have to barrel forward. You have to barrel forward and get it done, or else it'll never get done.
Right.
I mean, I look at the stuff I write and I go, oh, that's so dumb. I'll never have enough money to do this scene.
Right.
I better rewrite this stuff. And I
that's
never
100%
finish anything.
true.
Because I'm such a...
But
I'm so
and
hypercritical
I
of
do
myself.
believe that the moment you start to question yourself and the decisions you've made in the past is when you really start to stop speaking, so to speak. You stop
You
you
don't
stop
have a
taking
voice.
risks because
Yeah.
you no longer trust the voice that you have.
Right.
And
I think that's why a lot of people, they get high or they get drunk
to get beyond it.
to get past that point, and they just go, I'm just gonna keep writing,
But
no
then
matter
they look,
what.
then they look
Right, the
back and
next
they're
day
like,
they're
"Wow,
like-
this is terrible. I really shouldn't have posted that all over Facebook."
Yeah. I mean, look at Stephen King. He doesn't remember writing Cujo because he was on so much cocaine.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
And it's a great book.
Is it really?
It's a good book.
Well, there's definitely, I mean, we could go down so many rabbit holes about this. Maybe we'll save a lot of this for when we do sit down with Jake finally,
Okay.
or any of our
We'll
filmmaker friends. We'll get Aaron Moorhead on the show eventually too, because
Maybe.
they've got their movie, The Endless, coming out, and that looks.
I think that guy's always busy promoting his current movie or making the next one off in some foreign country.
Aaron?
Yeah. And
Well,
Justin.
but he's also part of a team, which I think is really critical. Like, to be able to be that prolific, if you're with somebody else, then you're never going to really question yourself, because you feel like there's a buffer, there's something going back and forth. It's like
it gives you an opportunity to voice these dumb, quote unquote dumb ideas.
Right.
And it's up to somebody else to say, that's not good.
Well, and you look at how many people are successful, like where they came from, who they came up with. Like, I mean, Owen Wilson,
Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson came up with Wes Anderson. They came up with.
Oh, yeah. Wes Anderson, not Luke Wilson. Never mind.
Well, Luke Wilson was one of them too, right? Never mind. But I mean, like, teams, people usually come up as a team. And it's rare that someone finds success on their own and only on their own.
Right.
That's
what about? No, Ryan Johnson. He kind of worked with the same group of people for a while.
Yeah, Ram Bergman. As producer, they've been together forever. And like, it's not just actors and directors. It can be, directors could be a team of directors. You could have a producing partner and a director, but those are teams.
Mm-hmm.
Sam
Raimi has Scott Spiegel.
Yeah.
And
Bruce
Campbell, and who's Lucy Lawless' husband?
Ted Raimi.
Rob Tappert.
Rob Tappert. I mean,
everybody's got somebody.
If it's just you and the people around you aren't necessarily just as passionate about what they're doing, it's hard to make that step, and you gotta be a part of a team. I think that's why it kind of goes back to when Nick and I were all living together, because we were all kind of very in the same place with a boiling pot of creativity, and Nick was very, very inspirational in a sense of going up and making something.
Yeah.
But then when we all kind of moved out of there, we definitely slowed down. Nick definitely slowed down.
Well, he's just focused on fewer things.
Very different things, yeah.
But I definitely remember me coming up with some real dumb ideas, telling him about it, and he would instantly get excited and be like, dude, we should make that this weekend. I'm like, no, what? No, it's just based on a fucking dream I had.
Well,
it doesn't make any
you
sense.
always shot down your own stuff, though. I still love your this short film that you made in college about nuclear war or whatever. It was like totally my mistake that you like still framed on something, wasn't it, or something?
No, that was all deliberate.
Oh, okay.
No.
Mark made a short film that was pretty good, and he's hated it every single day.
I hated it back then.
Courtney was in that, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah, Courtney and Nick. Yeah.
Yes.
We're going. This is great radio. Nobody
We're talking about movies nobody has seen. And
Or
I'm not going
ever
to talk
will.
about it because
that's
it's
why
not a good time for me.
no one listens to this podcast.
No, we've got dozens of listeners.
Except you, Jake and Lance.
And Mom. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I think I am done with this podcast, though. This episode. Not
You're
the whole
retiring?
podcast.
I have to replace you? Yeah. I think I don't know if I'm disappointed. I don't think I had any expectations, to be honest. I think the creature work and special effects actually exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm. I saw the trailer for this way back before it came out, and when I saw it, I was hoping to get some sort of a Lovecraftian mystery thriller, and it's more of a gory action movie, sort of. So
it
doesn't. Yeah, like it has the monsters down really well. My favorite monster in the whole thing is that one guy slamming his own face into the end of a pole over and over again. But there is a vacant space in his head because these things can't die. They all just want to kill themselves. So he's spending eternity essentially jabbing his own face into a
hollowing
pole.
out his face.
Yeah. I mean, what happens when he
gnarly.
has no head left?
Right.
What?
What
Can
what's
each individual
actually-
piece of him still feel pain?
Yeah, each atom is sitting there trying to commit suicide.
That's a great monster, and that actually is a thought-provoking image. Like, fuck, how long have they been down here?
Yeah.
That alone was very Lovecraftian, the monster stuff. But apart from that, this didn't really scratch that Lovecraft itch for me. It wasn't racist enough, is what I'm saying.
Okay, HP. Hewlett Packard Lovecraft. Yeah. I guess.
Well,
I mean,
we're finishing strong.
No, there's plenty I want to talk about, but I feel like we could save for other podcasts.
All right, let's make a note of it.
Yeah.
We can record more tomorrow.
I'll forget it all. It's no big deal. All right. Well, that concludes this episode of The Hell With This.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
I'm Chad Peter, unless Mark's talking over me.
I can't tell when you're about to talk. I just go. I just do it.
Just go.
I'm Mark Heiliger. I'm on Twitter. We're on Twitter, THWT Podcast.
Is that like a drug? Twitter.
We're on Twitter. It can seem like a drug. Oh, man. There's nothing I love more than just yelling at Russian trolls all day.
And I'm Chad Peter. I'm on Instagram.
Probably the better social media platform these days.
Unless you just want to see loads and loads and loads of people complaining about things.
That's what they do?
That's what they do on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's what it's for. I mean, you got to voice your opinion somewhere.
Sure.
It's an old man screaming at the clouds.
Right.
About,
and the clouds occasionally yell back at you and destroy your life.
Doxing.
All right.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, this is painful.
It's Dragon Wagon.
Gamebox Monthly sends a new awesome indie tabletop game right to your door every month. There are multiple subscriptions to choose from, and you can personalize them to fit your style. Also, you're guaranteed to never get a title you already have, letting you focus on what matters most, having a great time with great people.
So visit GameboxMonthly.com and use the promo code DRAGON to get an exclusive discount just for The Hell With This listeners.
Once again, that's GameboxMonthly.com.
Rediscover social.